I was having a lot of pain, and I was like, what the hell is going on? The moment I said, I'm taking a sabbatical, the pain went away. It literally went away, and I had it for nearly 2 years.
Coming to the stage in about 37 seconds, there's a guy that used to sell carpets, clean carpets. And he used to run around, he has all these wonderful sayings, and the one thing he has is a heart for you. The one thing he has is a heart for you. And he's missed you terribly. He's gone away to make himself better for you. And I told him backstage, I said, dude, you sold out. They're here for you. They love you. You're enough. You're enough. And with that, I want to say, coming to the stage at this time in 2022, fresh off his birthday, is none other than Joe Polish.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Wow. Well, let's see. How do I do this? Such a weird thing, just, this time off and then coming back and seeing this. And, I would kiss you all on the mouth, but that'd be really weird. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let me get my bearings straight for just 3 seconds. Okay, now I'm ready. Let's see, clicker. Let me start with this. So, I want to share with you a little bit about the last year, but I figured I would offend a few of you first, so let's start with that. Okay, so in the documentary that, where's Devon? Where's Devon Patel? Where's that goofball? Is he here somewhere? He's supposed to be sitting there. He's on, oh, yeah, go figure. So it's actually featured in the movie, the Connected movie. It's on the shelf. It's this little thing, The Secret of Success. What's the secret? Pretend you've already achieved it, then offer to sell the secret to others. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. I think that's so funny. All right, let's start with some memes, because it's a little bit of meme wars going on in the world right now, right? So let's try to summarize the last almost 2 years with some current events. Neil Young. If you won't censor the guy I don't like, I won't let you listen to Keep on Rockin' in the Free World. Fuck Neil Young. All right. Crazy idea. Let's divide a country into half capitalist and half communist and check on it in 70 years later. Yeah, see how that goes. This one's funny. I see people driving alone in their car wearing a mask and wonder if they lay alone in bed with a condom on. I know some of you have seen these, because most of these I got from people in the room that texted them to me. Okay, I don't know if you saw the Sesame Street thing on Twitter and the endorsement of vaccines, and then Robert Malone, who invented the mRNA vaccine. Sesame Street character Big Bird, trusted expert, inventor of the mRNA, biologist Robert Malone, purveyor of misinformation. Yeah, living an interesting time. Okay, this I just randomly threw in there. It's like a little Post-it note I put in the drawer of my girlfriend's, where her clothes are, with a bunch of little Paw Patrol things. It had nothing to do with anything. I just thought we would throw it in there. Where's Cherie, by the way? Hey, sweetie. How you doing? Okay, so, all right, the Pfizer loyalty card. After 8 boosters, you get a free pizza. Yeah. How to spot a parent that watches CNN. Okay, Einstein. Blind belief in authority is the greatest enemy of truth. All right, well, and to also set you guys up for just how to think about it, how many of you actually have gotten COVID? Yeah. I have too. I had it in September. It's fucking lovely, isn't it, if you don't die? I mean, it's tough. It's tough. However, I have some very smart people around me, so I got through it pretty quickly. But there's also, that's a whole nother issue. We'll get into that later. We're gonna try to figure out what's the cause of all this. Is it the big tech companies? Is it the communist CCP? Communist Chinese Party? Is it all the globalist rich assholes that are spending, trillions of dollars and destroying people's lives so they can make a few billion? Is it drug companies? Is it politics? What is it? I mean, there's a lot of players in this thing, but the bottom line is this one. If the virus found the time to become a new version of itself, so can you. So we are here to, I don't know what the hell we're here for. I mean, is this a business for me? Is this like all my friends that we happen to extract money out of? Is it just like a connection network? Is it a mastermind group? What the hell is this Genius Network thing? So here's the thing. I really take seriously that you all spent a lot of Tammy in order to get here. So I've been working on a new book that's coming out in August, most likely. I think the date we have tentatively is August 30th with Hay House, called What's in It for Them? And we had the whole manuscript completed before I went on my sabbatical, and we were supposed to release it last year, but I said there's no way I want to release a book in the year I'm taking the sabbatical. And then during the sabbatical, all the time I had to think, we redid the whole book. And it's called What's in It for Them? And one of the things that I talk about is Tammy, even though that's not mentioned much in the book. And the final version that I have to completely edit, I have 10 days after this event ends to complete the book. So that'll be fun. But the Tammy is time, attention, money, effort, and energy. Time, attention, money, effort, and energy. So you're all spending that in order to be here. Your time, your attention, your money, your effort, and your energy. And I work out at, I've like a couple of gym memberships, but one of them they have on the wall at all their gyms. It's a gym called Mountainside. It says, effort is your responsibility. Effort is your responsibility. So it's your responsibility to put forth some effort over the next couple of days to meet the people here that are awesome. Many of you are great fans. How many of you, this is the first time you've ever actually even seen me in person? First time you've been at Genius Network? Okay, thank you. And I want to meet every one of you, and I know, well, except for two. There's two here I really don't want to meet, but yeah. But no, I would like to meet all of you. And this is not just a seminar and an event. This is all the speakers, all the stuff we're doing, all my rambling up here. It's truly just an excuse to put a bunch of badasses together and to connect you with each other. Is Jason Flatland in the room? Where's he at? Oh, right there. Okay, by the light, it's hard to actually see. He's a very handsome fella. Some of you remember what Jason used to look like when he first joined? Like some vagrant that just walked, I mean, overweight, like disgruntled, I mean, it was bad. And then he started doing yoga and kind of cleaned up his act. But Jason is incredibly bright. You just did, how big was your launch you just did? How much? 57 million. He's going to give a talk and he's going to share with you how the hell to do $57 million in a launch, or how he did it, not how everyone could do it, because frankly, that's its whole other issue. But he came up with the term assembling unicorns. And so that's what we try to do here, is to assemble unicorns. So if you are a farting unicorn, then I just saw a meme that had a farting unicorn. I think Howard sent it to me. Yeah. How many of you realize what a demented human being Howard gets it is? I mean, truly, yeah. If he explains his childhood to you, it'll all make sense, okay? It all makes sense. Like if every one of us explained our childhood to everyone, it all makes sense. Where's Dr. Don Wood? Is he in the room? Right here. You got to talk to this dude if you don't know Don Wood. We actually met. We were both speaking at the Spartan World Championships in 2019. He helps people with trauma, and he has this great line where he says, if you understood the atmospheric conditions of somebody's life, it would make sense why they do what it is they do. I love that term. It's great. So the thing is, though, you can actually change the atmospheric conditions of your life, and there's a lot you can do in this world. And it's been really hard. I realize that, really hard. How many of you have lost someone that you love has died in the last year or two? Yeah, a lot of you. And there's several of you in the room that lost wives, husbands, parents. It's been pretty hardcore. So I'm not going to pretend that, kumbaya. There's a lot of difficult shit going on. So we're going to talk about all kinds of things during this event. And every speaker has been curated to deliver some really great conversations. But this is a connection network. That's what I want Genius Network to represent. So I was looking through some different slides, and this I actually shared at the annual event in 2017. And it's a gaping void image. Where's Jason Corman at? Right back there? Okay. Smart guy, kind of a curmudgeous sort of individual, though. I mean, so very smart, though. So if you can deal with his abrasive personality, he's a really sweet man. He really is. Because the hardest shells hide the tenderest meat, and he's sitting there right next to Craig. Go figure, right? Yeah. Both those guys. Do not take a bubble bath with either one of them. It's really weird. Yeah, I miss you too. It's great to have you. It's great. It's actually, so I'm looking at, it's so weird. I just want to stop, because my ADD brain wants to stop and say something to each person that I see, and I have to kind of keep going. And is Ned Hollowell in the room? Where's he at? Right there. Okay, you're going to love Ned. If you've never seen Ned, Ned is the top ADD, ADHD psychiatrist in the world. He's written more books on it than anyone. The guy's a genius. You're going to love it. And I brought him here today to keep me under control, to a degree. No, it's so great. Yeah, I've known Ned forever, and he's awesome, and I'm going to do an interview with him. You're gonna leave here with a lot of capabilities. You're going to learn a lot of cool stuff, and hopefully you unlearn a few things too, because unlearning is frankly more important than learning. All right, so $1 Million Racehorse. What's this all about? Many of you have heard us talk about it. If you had $1 million racehorse, and every time that horse ran a race and won, you'd make $1 million. How would you treat the horse? You wouldn't shove fast food down its throat. You wouldn't sleep deprive it. You wouldn't overwork it. You wouldn't overtrain it. You'd have the best trainers, the best nutrition, the best of everything. You would take care of that $1 million racehorse. So you are the $1 million racehorse. And I can babble and talk about this stuff all day long, but last year, when I took the sabbatical, the year before, what prompted it was I got a message on Instagram from a guy named Cole Schneider. And I've been friends with his father, Mark, for over 20 years. Mark is actually the one that gave me the term elf. We're on a golf course playing golf, and he started talking to, and this is a rare thing for me, because like George Carlin would say, I think golf is a waste of real estate, so I hardly ever play golf. I thought one person would find that funny. Right? Shit, man, you take a year off, you just kind of lose your game a little bit. I have to question my self-esteem, which is already bad enough to begin with, but let me just take a drink here and ponder this for a moment. How would I have said that? The internal voice, it would have been more funny. I think golf is a waste of real estate. Like, is it the tone? Is it what the hell? George Carlin says it, people laugh their ass off. The fuck is going on here? Okay, all right, back to here. All right, it's not that funny. So, Mark, we were playing golf, and he said, Elf, do deals that are easy, lucrative, and fun. And Mark, a very interesting guy, funny as hell, crazy, wacky as hell, entrepreneur. I mean, crazy, right? And I said, I love that term. I go, I'm going to actually I'm going to do something with that, because most of the marketing that we do is designed to be robotic and automated, so you don't have to rely on, being a salesperson. You could have your marketing do it for you. So I started thinking of Elf in terms of marketing, easy, lucrative, and fun. And then we developed it into Elf versus Half, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And, for years, I talked about it with the first marketing group that I went to, which was carpet cleaners, because I was a former dead broke carpet cleaner, and I learned marketing so I could survive. And all of my carpet cleaners were using the term Elf, and we were thinking of Elf, and it was giving people a framework on how to think about the marketing that we were doing. And then for about 8 years, I just quit talking about it. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there. And then one day in Genius Network, I mentioned Elf, and then it started picking up again, and I was like, wow, people love that, because my whole Nightingale Conant program, which is, for those of you old enough to remember Nightingale Conant, me and Timothy Polson, I have to say Timothy now, because somewhere along the way, Tim just decides to say he wants Timothy. I don't even know what that is about. So Timothy Polson, but we did that program together, and it was the #1 selling marketing program in Nightingale Conant. They still sell it on Audible, and sold millions of dollars worth of that program, all on Elf. And then I started talking about it again and realizing, ELF doesn't just apply to marketing. It applies to people. It applies to deals. It applies to a lot of things. So now I put everything through the ELF filter. So Mark was the one that originally had shared that with me. And his son sends me a message saying, can I call you on WhatsApp? I'm like, yeah. And Mark, I just talked to him 2 days prior. I had recently introduced him to Paula Abdul, the singer. They were putting together what was going to be a really big deal on this thing that he was working on. And Cole calls me and says, yeah, we found my father in bed this morning, dead. And like right at that moment, like, what the? So Mark was 59 years old. He was worth about $300 million. And he died. And it popped into my head, take a sabbatical. And I didn't even know what that meant, and I was the last person that I would ever think, take a sabbatical. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to reevaluate looking at work because, the pandemic had started for us, and when I say us, my company, my team, most of the United States, around March is when it really came in, and I had done a team meeting mid-March after filling out an impact filter, thanks to Dan Sullivan and Babs and Strategic Coach, a great thinking tool, and about how do we handle this thing. And so as soon as it started, since I spend almost daily on talking to one or several people that struggle with addiction, and I've been in my own recovery, which is, for many, many years, and the world was getting really dark. And I had this sense that things are going to get really dark, and there's people trying to figure out how do you run your business. A few people's businesses immediately, a couple of members we had in travel, their businesses were just decimated. And thinking, how do I think about work? How do I think about life? What the hell can I actually do that would be a useful contribution? What am I into? What am I not into? The serenity prayer, which I've said a million times, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And in my codependent way, I get stuck on the wisdom to know the difference. How many of you think you can change a lot of things that you really you try to, but it's hard, right? It's a difficult thing. And I think we have the ability to change a lot of stuff, but the biggest thing we have the ability to change is ourselves and our perceptions and how we think about things and who we hang out with and where we spend our time, attention, money, effort, and energy. And I wanted to really reevaluate work. So I've had this on my, on the wall at Genius Network for a long time. It says, be willing to destroy anything in your life that isn't excellent. And there was a lot of stuff in my life that just simply wasn't excellent. I have a great life. I mean, there are people that deal with shit, they're going through stuff, what's happened the last couple of years, I cannot even fathom, so please don't perceive anything as I make jokes, as I'm sarcastic, whatever, that I'm bitching about. I will bitch. I love to, because I went to the Dale Carnegie course years ago, and there was this one, I read, the book is awesome, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but there's one chapter on don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And it's like, I love to criticize, condemn, and complain. I mean, there's just some people, it's so much fun to make fun, to talk shit about them, right? And so, there's a lot of things in my life that were not excellent, but I do have an amazing, blessed life. So I started to say, like, well, I'm talking about this stuff, but how much am I actually living it? And I think I do a pretty good job. I mean, that's the ego part of me that's trying to rationalize, stuff, but I think I do a pretty good job. And I showed those of you, how many of you were here in 2017 at the annual event? Okay, so you probably remember this. Okay, this is a letter in German letterhead, written in German on letterhead at a hotel that Einstein was staying at. I think it was 1922, and he had literally written these two letters, and one of them they sold it at an auction for $1.56 million for that letter, and it's because of what it said. And here's a little bit about it. That's kind of hard to read, but those autographed notes in which Einstein offered his thoughts on how to live a happy and fulfilling life sold at a Jerusalem auction house Tuesday for a combined $1.8 million. Now, the first one sold for $240,000 that said, where there's a will, there's a way. And then the one that I just showed you, it sold for $1.56 million. And here's what it said. It says, a calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness. A calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness. And I would always grapple with that, saying, okay, I have enough money, and I do currently, unless someone comes and takes it all or something, or I make some really stupid decisions, which I've made plenty of those in my life. I've pissed away way more money than I would ever want to admit, but I have. And there's a lot of things that can be done in the world, but is working. I'm a guy that has spent most of my life where I will trade peace of mind for productivity. I will suffer in order to get something done. I mean, working in the world of addiction recovery is not easy. It's, and I actually pay to do that. I fund a lot of it, but it helps me with my own recovery, because there's this whole thing about the worst day sober is better than the best day not sober. And so life is hard and difficult at times, and other times it's beautiful. And I really, when I first read this, I was like, what a profound piece of wisdom, but how do I really think about it? I can have a calm and modest life and be happy, but who am I doing it for? And so one of the things I learned on sabbatical is that the pursuit of happiness is the cause of most unhappiness. If you chase happiness, it runs away. Has any of you remember, like, when you were first dating and you had someone that you were really into, you really liked them, and you were hoping to go out with them, and the more you pursued them, the more they ran away? Anyone have that experience other than, like, everyone in the room? Yeah? Okay. Elko, my man. Thank you for coming all the way from, you're awesome. You're awesome. Elko you should be up here giving this talk right now about this topic. So here's the thing. I had some PowerPoints, but as usual, I wait till the last minute to put them together, and I didn't do a good job to get them to my team, so I just have notes. Paper notes, yeah. I'm only doing this PowerPoint thing for those of you in the bad seats in the back that can barely see. No, don't we switch everyone around, though? There's no bad seats in there, I hope not. Yeah, I mean, these are the worst seats because they're closer to me, and God knows what variant I'm going to give everyone in the front row. All right, so here's the thing. So I highlighted, as you can see from my handwritten notes, some of the things that I want to share. So before I went on my sabbatical, I was in pain on the left side of my body, left shoulder. And I know a lot about physical pain. Most pain is not structural, it's psychological, it's caused by repressed emotions, predominantly anger and rage. Dr. John Sarno did an amazing job writing about that, and I was in chronic pain almost my whole entire adult life until I met a guy named Steve Ozanich, who wrote a very exhaustive book called The Great Pain Deception by Sarno, based on Sarno's work, not by Sarno. And if you don't know who Dr. John Sarno is, and you have any sort of physical pain, knee pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, we have a modern pain epidemic. Most of it is caused by, it's psychosomatic, it's stress, it's anxiety. That's for a much longer conversation than I have right now. Some of you have heard me talk about that, and I know there's at least 20 people in this room right now that were in constant chronic pain until I shared enough with them till they did their own research and that they're now out of pain. And so I was having a lot of pain, and I was like, what the hell is going on? The moment I said, I'm taking a sabbatical, the pain went away. It literally went away, and I had it for nearly 2 years. Because prior to taking the sabbatical, I had a breakup that was very difficult. Sean Stevenson, my best friend, died. Several other friends died. Mark died. I had to deal with some IP theft. All kinds of things. It was a very, very psychologically difficult thing for me, the way that I was interpreting it. Life, even though, again, I have a blessed life. And so when I announced I was taking a sabbatical, the pain went away. I was like, what the hell? This is the weirdest thing ever. And then about a month before I started my sabbatical, here in the gym at this hotel, I was doing pull-ups. And the right side of my body, I literally lost, like the strength was half of what the left side was. And I was doing pull-ups I'm like, what on the other side of my body, before I was getting geared up to start the sabbatical. But it wasn't pain. It was just a weakness. I don't know if it was caused by TMS or what. It never came back. I literally, underneath the lat in the upper part of the tricep and part of the right the pec, the muscle atrophied and never turned back on. And it's something I'm like, what? The body is so weird. And I just turned 54 years old. And so I'm like, part of me, oh, is it age? Whatever. But I kept with it. And I started, and where's Nick Sonnenberg at? Back here. Only useful thing Nick has ever done in my life for me is no, kidding. Just kidding. He's done 3 useful things. So Nick, I'll just take this off. So Nick is a very flawed human being. And we have to, but let's put this jacket over here to the side. Well, thank you, Mr. Asprey. Yeah. Biohacker, doorman, whatever you put. Yeah. I like the hair. You're looking kind of, not too much like Neil Young, though. That's like, not going for that. You got to read the shit that Dave's been writing on Instagram. It's so good. It's so good. How many of you follow Dave on Instagram? It's so fantastic. Yeah, so fantastic. Yeah. It's the people that are on the other side are like, fuck, I hate that guy. Yeah. So, all right. So Nick Sonnenberg calls me up. He's like, I'm in town. I'm hanging out with one of my clients. And by the way, where's Chris Voss? Oh, he should be there. Okay, that's tomorrow. Okay. All right. I was going to say something, but that's good. So Nick says, "Hey, I'm in town. I've got one of my clients. I'm doing some consulting with at her plastic surgery clinic, and he said, would you like to go to dinner with us and meet up? And it's the middle of a sabbatical, and if you can remember back in November, in different parts of the world, but it's really hard to go to restaurants. Everyone's wearing masks. A lot of places are closed." And I'm like, sure, yeah. And he goes, well, do you have any suggestions on where to eat? And I'm like, okay. Well, so he calls me up to see if I want to go to dinner, but then asks, where should we go to dinner? And which is fine, it's fine. And I'm like, why don't we just do it at my house, and I'll make food. And to make a long story short, he invites this wonderful woman by the name of Dr. Cherie Ong, who's sitting right here. And she comes over with a couple of other people. Jessica Carroll comes over, and Nick, and we're hanging out. And we just became friends. I just really liked her brain. I liked her. She was really awesome, and no thought from either one of us that we would ever start, a relationship intimately. That's where people, have sex and do weird things. But anyway, her parents are here with her. I just had to say that because I'm trying to, you got to get people used to me. I'm like weird as hell. You got to be slow about it. It's just a different form of foreplay. But anyway, so we just have become friends, and we'd gone to lunch, gone to dinner a couple times, and then I have this wacky friend named Cindy who wrote a book called Everything, she did all the marketing for it, Everything Men Know About Women. Have you ever seen that book? She became a multimillionaire with a book called Everything Men Know About Women, and the whole book is blank. It's just the title. So anyone here saying, I have difficulty selling my shit, I paid $10,000 to come to this event, or I'm in the, you want to mark headlines, and so the book is blank. I mean, there's authors that spend their whole life trying to write a book, and they never do anything with it. She becomes a millionaire with a blank book. It's just hysterical, I mean, you could do it with wit and wisdom of Joe Biden. I mean, there's a million different strategies, ethical guidelines of the, drug companies. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with this, There's so many headlines in my head right now. I'm just trying to look at the clock and realize, we got a little bit of time here. So anyway, Nick introduces me to Cherie. We hang out, and then Cindy, she comes to me and says, why are you not dating her? And I said, well, there's this other woman I'm actually interested in, but she's in another country, and that sort of thing. And and she's like, well, she's awesome. She's got a great heart. You guys really should be in a. I'm like, I'm not. She's just a friend. And she's like, no, really. And so she plants his seed. And then, unbeknownst to me, she's saying the same shit to Cherie in the corner, in a different, 10 minutes later or whatever. And then the very last interview for I Love Marketing, I happened to have Amy Chang. Where's Amy? I always say Amy Chan. Where's Amy? Okay, so, sorry, because of the light. She's amazing. She wrote a book called Breakup Boot Camp. And I'm going to be doing an interview with her and Annie Lala on love relationships, because what we do is we sell people what they want, and we do our best to give them what they need, right? That's what we do here. So you bedazzle people with marketing and how to make money and how to build whatever your client base is or whatever you're trying to do, and then we smuggle in all of these things related to health and fitness and being a good human being and all that other sort of stuff, and then put you together with what I hope is to be the most non-narcissistic entrepreneurial group in the genre of marketing that you could find, because marketers are brilliant geniuses, the ones that really know their shit and have studied persuasion, but they're some of the biggest con artists on the planet. I mean, how many of you have noticed that, right? It's like, really great, they can sell anything, but they will sell their mother, they will do whatever they, for money. So part of it is we want to teach you marketing and stuff, but it's this other stuff that is so much more important. And how many of you were single throughout the sabbatical? I mean, oh yeah, that still makes sense. I can still try to make that work. How many of you were single during the pandemic, or they're still single? Yeah? I mean, it's hard, it's lonely, and man, so love relationships. So I did this interview with Amy, and me and Cherie had just started dabbling with dating. And Amy makes this comment on this interview. She's like, try try going out with someone that you've not gone before, someone that's younger, someone that's older, someone that has a different personality than you. If some along those lines. And she said it way more eloquently than I'm saying right now. And when I interview Amy and Annie, I think you'll agree that you're going to get so much out of it. And it planted this seed in my head saying, okay, I'm going on a sabbatical. I've met this incredible person. I'm already a little jaded from, past things that have happened in my life, and many of you have met some of my past partners, right? And I tend to try to not burn bridges and be friends with people, and also look at how do I do relationships and stuff. And so Nick is responsible for the introduction, so thank you very much for that, Nick. Now if this thing blows up and she that's a whole other thing. No, but and by the way, here's the best thing about, well, there's many beautiful things about Cherie, but one of the best things from a public standpoint is that Cherie is the top vaginal plastic surgeon in Arizona. And I can now talk about vaginas in some way, segue them into every conversation. It somehow becomes acceptable. It is unbelievable. So I can just get away with even more stuff that I try to already, because I'm sort of an inappropriate person, if anyone hasn't noticed that, right? Okay. But she's loving and incredible and awesome, and so it's been an incredible journey. We started the year of my sabbatical on January 3rd. We went to Florida, and we spent 7 days meditating for between 4 to 7 hours a day with Joe Dispenza, and that was really cool. And then went to Hawaii after that, and I didn't do much traveling. This was not an external journey; it was more of an internal one. And so the lessons, I'm just going to go through some lessons real quickly, and then I'm going to show you a couple pictures, and then we're going to have way better speakers and presenters than me for the next 2.5 days, and you're going to love it. So here's the ones I highlighted. All right. So the people that wanted to, here's some ahas and insights I got. The people that want to dispense the most advice on how to do sabbaticals are actually the people that have never truly taken one. I cannot tell you how many people are trying to tell me how to do a sabbatical, and you need to do it. Have you ever taken a sabbatical? No. Shut the fuck up. Right? No. I listen, because, those that can't teach. I mean, there's a lot of good people that teach stuff that never do it. I mean, there'd be no books in the world if that wasn't the case. All right, so, and by the way, I've said this before, you've heard me say it. Every person that writes a book is a speaker, puts themselves out there publicly. In a lot of ways, they want validation. They want the world to like them. They want people to like their ideas. Most of them have low self-esteem, low self-worth, including myself. Not all. I actually think Dan Sullivan, as an example, has an incredibly high self-worth. I tried to, over the years, see if I can get into that sensitive part of Dan, and he seems to be a pretty confident man. So, but we'll see. There's always some area. There's always some area. So, what was so valuable in the sabbatical is the realization that I don't need to plan anything. I don't need to do anything. And I had this, this energy that needed to go somewhere, and it was really uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. But David Bach, were any of you at the presentation he gave many years ago where he talked about taking a 1-year sabbatical? Okay. And it's still on Genius Network. You can find it on YouTube, and it's great. And I had really good conversations with David, with Richard Rossi, with Dan Sullivan, with Ben Hardy, with a variety of different people that were really helpful to help me think through. Ben even helped me. He interviewed me. We did some interviews, and I really went into this thing wanting to reevaluate work. So here's some of the things I learned. Humor heals. Thinking time works. We need to give ourselves more of it. I learned a lot about cryptocurrency and blockchain, and I am still a total, infant in my knowledge of it. So crypto, blockchain, NFTs, all very fascinating, very confusing, and will make some people very rich, and some people will totally lose their ass, and they are changing the world. And it may be smart to pay attention to them. Try to understand things that are new before you say they are good or bad, because in a state of ignorance, it's easy to make judgments. So, I got a few NFTs and stuff. I'll show you a couple of my crypto punks if we have time. If not, I'll do it later. Here's some other things that I discovered and learned and some insights. We're in the midst of evil. They, in quotes, are not doing this for your safety. Recovery work from a life of chaos prepares you for chaos and uncertainty. It doesn't provide all the answers, but it helps. And by the way, I'm going to put all these into a more laid out way if this is useful for anyone, and I'll send them to everyone. If you don't really know what you got till it's gone, you also don't know all the bullshit you put up with until you step away from it for a while. We're in the middle of a world war, unlike any that has ever happened on planet Earth. It's a physical, cyber, and psychic war, and the weapons are truly different. Because war is organized murder, and you are blind if you're not aware of all the organized murder going on in the world right now. Drug dealers and pimps are truly running the world. They are and utilize, as quoted, they credit Stalin with this, the useful idiots that Stalin referred to as the media. This includes almost all media. The drugs that kill people are legal, and the drugs that can save people's lives are illegal or becoming illegal. We don't need a war on drugs. We need a drug against war. There are less givers in the world than what I once thought, but a lot of true warriors. People truly are under a mass hypnosis formation. Some of the people that are considered conspiracy theory people were the early adopters that actually saw much of the truth through the propaganda before most other people have. They were insulted, attacked, called crazy, deplatformed, canceled, sometimes lost their jobs, their freedoms, their livelihoods, and sometimes their lives. Life's easy when you live it the hard way, and hard if you live it the easy way, by my friend Dave Kekich, who died a few months ago. Some of you were good friends with Dave, and that was such a loss, and he's such an amazing guy. But he wrote Kekich Credos. It's easy to lie to yourself and rationalize your behavior. There are no rules for sabbaticals. You do what you want. And it's easier to make personal decisions when you're not burdened with business decisions. And then for me, not being on social media was way healthier for my brain than reading inspirational quotes on social media. And so I've posted once on Instagram, like a video. But I don't have Facebook, I don't have LinkedIn, I don't have WhatsApp, I don't have any social media things, Twitter on my phone. And during the sabbatical, let's see, I started doing this at the very end with Cherie. That's our second ice bath we did a couple weeks ago. Is Michael and Jesse, you guys in the room somewhere? They own a great sort of biohacking place called Optimize. And while you're in town, if you stay in town, go to Optimize. So Michael is a Wim Hof trainer, and these guys are great. And so that's Cherie. See that smile on her face? The first time she did it, that was the look on her face. She was hating life, and I hate the freaking cold. And during Thanksgiving week, we listened to the entire Wim Hof book, the Wim Hof Method. And I'd been doing Wim Hof breathing a couple years ago, but I never did the cold stuff consistently because I hate the cold. And listening to that book and him talking about his wife when she jumped off an 8-story building over 25, 30 years ago and committed suicide, and he was left with 4 kids and no time to grieve, and how he healed himself with the cold, and then the way he explained it, it flipped a switch. And one of the best things that I got out of the sabbatical was I started doing this. And so that video that I recorded for you, that was this morning. I spent 9 minutes in my pool this morning. I was freaking shivering when I got out today. But it's actually colder when you go to optimize the example. It's between 39 to 42 to 44 degrees. And I've been doing it every day. And then a couple days ago, I was there with Jim Quick. And there's Jesse on the left of Jim, left of Jim. And Michael between me and a sandwich and a couple dudes, and so we did saunas, we did all that stuff. So I'll just real quickly show you a couple other things. Divorce court in 2030. Does anyone get that? Does that make sense to anyone? Those are NFTs. Okay, so divorce court. So here's one of my crypto punks, the first one that I bought. You just buy JPEGs. At the time, with the price of Ethereum, I think I paid $407,000 for that. And here's one that looks just like me that I just acquired. How fucking awesome is that? For me, none of you give a shit, but I actually think it's cool. But we're going to create a thing called Recovery Punks. And we're going to use crypto punks, and we're going to create a whole community about that. But we're going to get to that. I'm going to bring NFT experts in Genius Network over the next year. We got all kinds of cool stuff. Got Jordan Peterson coming to the 100K group in April. It's got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to get him to come to another Genius Network meeting, all kinds of things. This little thing above that's a picture from my office. My brain had too many tabs open. I had too many how many of you feel that way? So I'm gonna interview lots of smart people here. And let me just give a real quick thing, then we're gonna take a short share with your partner, meet people sort of thing. But here's the different speakers that we have. So Andre, what'd you think of Andre Norman? He's amazing. There will be a point in time with you or someone you love is in crisis. You're a Genius Network member, call us, we will help you. That is worth more than any amount of investment on learning a marketing strategy when you need that, and we will do our best if we can help. Okay, I'm going to do an interview with Jim Quick. He's going to talk for a little bit first. It's going to be on how to learn, how to unlearn, memory, incredibly valuable. Whitney Jones, she's now third-time Miss Fitness Olympia. She won again. She's incredible. We're going to talk about health and mindset. Jason Fladlin, how every single person in the room can do a $57 million launch if you have the brains of Jason Fladlin. Steve Sims, pretty much about getting what you want. Ned Hollowell. I'm going to interview him, but all these people, we're going to let you ask them questions. Not all of them. Some of them might just give a short talk. But there will be a lot of questions that I would like to come from the audience. This is not about me. I've never wanted Genius Network to be about me. I wanted it to be about the members and you in the group. So Ned's going to be great. If you struggle with focus, worry, he's great. Amy and Annie on love, how to develop love relationships if you're single, if you're married, or if you need to get out of one. Okay, so we're going to talk about both those. Garrett Gunderson, where's that handsome fella? Yeah, I don't like Garrett. He's just a good-looking guy. Sort of, I don't like that. He's just a very handsome fella. Looks like Jesus with that hair. Yeah. No, but Garrett is, have any of you seen Garrett do stand-up? Okay, he's formerly known, best-selling New York best-selling Times author of financial stuff, but Garrett's got a little surprise for all of you. Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy, we're going to talk about going 10 times. And people ask, is there cliques in Genius Network? Why are some of the people favored in a certain way? Because they're smarter and better than you are. That's why. I mean, like, what, you fucking think the world is fair? I mean, just look at the pandemic. I mean, God, at least you're in America or someplace that, you're not in, China or some shit. I mean, anyway, no, by the way, truly, if you want to be on stage, give a 10-minute talk at one of the events, do something awesome, be a giver, and that's what I want this to be. Just like, there's always people that are like, well, let me figure out what I can get out of this thing, versus like, you know how to get the most out of this? Give the most you can. And so all these people they're just incredible givers. And so, and I'm here to take a couple of narcissists that are in the room and turn them into, hopefully, I think, because my friend Dr. Ramani Devasala said you can't fix narcissism with therapy, you can only maybe manage it. But there is a thing called ayahuasca and ibogaine and MDMA guided therapy. There are some deep plant medicine journeys that might get the demons out of you. But we'll talk to Ned about that. All right. So here's, and I know I got to wrap in a moment here, so I'm just letting my team know backstage. Is Ken Wells in the room? Not yet. Ken will be here. Okay, Ken wrote a book called Dare to be Average. How many of you would like to dare to be average? I told him I think the title sucked, but he's like, nope, this is what it means. I met Ken 20 years ago when I was in a high-profile group. I wasn't high-profile, but there was a lot of people in there, and he's an incredible, incredible man. I don't know anyone that has met with more famous people, more billionaires, more successful people dealing with the dark side of their lives and helping them. And some of the most well-known people on the planet, some of the most financially successful people on the planet live in constant pain and suffering. And he's a guy that has helped so many. And he's not a guy that's out there trying to be an influencer, trying to, be famous. He just really understands. He's one of the best therapists on the planet. And I was meeting with him. Well, we have breakfast and lunch occasionally, and I've known him for over 2 decades. And I said, can I interview you about what you do? I think it would be so helpful to everyone here in the room to actually, because how many of you here never have any stress in your life? It's just fucking kumbaya, not especially over the pen, right? So I'm going to talk to you. I think it's going to be amazing. Nick and Lyle, my partners in Genius X, reinventing and reimagining education in virtual reality. They're going to share some stuff. Derek Sivers, love Derek Sivers. Derek is amazing. And he's going to be the only one that I'll be doing an interview with virtually because he's in Australia and the travel will be difficult. Is Brett Wilson in the room? Brett, not yet. Brett will be here. He's brilliant. Our billionaire friend from Canada, he was on Dragon Den, and many of you probably know Brett. And then Stephen Spencer, Stefan. No, I know. I'm just getting to that. I'm just messing with you because I did that for years. So Stefan's going to actually, he's going to share with you how to best utilize the Google. You know how Facebook changed their name to Meta? Well, Google is Cynet. That's what they're going to change their name to? No, I'm kidding. Remember Terminator, Cynet? Joke, funny? Okay. No, he's going to actually teach you how to leverage Google. And then who else? Chris Voss. Chris is we're going to have a conversation about something. You're just going to love it. And then my buddy Baron Baptiste, who's one of the top yoga minds on the planet. Brilliant dude. How many of you do yoga? Okay. How many of you are scared of doing yoga? Okay. You're all going to be doing yoga later. No, yeah, only if you want. So we have a lot in store for you. What I'd like you to do at this moment, though, first off, are you feeling okay? Yeah. Okay. If at any point in time you're having any difficulties or challenges, and I'm not trying to be overly sensitive here, let us know. And I want everyone here to have an incredible experience. I do want your Tammy to be well rewarded. There's some great people, some great minds here. I want you to get to know each other. There's some resources. You are here for capabilities. You're here for perspective. You're here for just getting out of your normal world, even though no one's had a normal world. And I know it's been really difficult over the last couple of years, and I really want this to be 2.5 of the most valuable days that you've spent in a long time, and that is our goal. That is our commitment. Half of that is our responsibility of what I can bring and deliver to all of you. The other is what you put yourself into it. So how many extroverts do we have in the room? Okay. How many introverts do we have? You notice no one says, whoa! Okay? Exactly. And if you do that shit, if you ever speak and you say that, the extroverts go like this, the introverts are like this. I mean, it's really actually kind of funny if you pay attention to that. And I used to go to a lot of events by myself. How many of you are here by yourself? Okay. How many of you would be really offended if anyone came up and introduced themselves to you? Anyone? Yeah, well, don't go meet Craig. Yeah, he's... Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Those are restraining orders, not but so no, Craig's here. So he's actually a rapper and he's actually a funny dude. So how many of you would love to meet somebody new? Okay, if you see someone kind of by themselves, like depressed look on their face, like if Michael Fishman is fucking moping around or something, just go give him a big kiss on the mouth, but wear a mask. Wear a mask, okay? Be safe. All right, for your own safety. Anyway, on behalf of myself and truly my incredible team, I couldn't have done any of this stuff without my team over the last year. So usually I will thank them at the end, but I want to thank them right now because, and all of the members and everyone, and here's the greatest surprise. On Sunday, I'm doing a panel with every Genius Network member that hosted one of the Genius Network meetings. These people were incredible, and when we looked at the feed forward forms, 98% were 8, 9s, and 10s. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Eunice, and my whole team. Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. You're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.